All right. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to give this presentation. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and it has been a bit of a labor of love. So here you are. The FMT 360 Training Method, our 5-step method to taking back your life from back pain and sciatica, even if you've tried everything else. I'm Dr. Nick. I am a physical therapist by trade and owner of functional movement therapy and a whole lot of other things, but I look forward to telling you a little bit more about my story in a moment. Oh, we're going to get here. So you're in the right place if you are done living in pain. You're tired of the injury. You're tired of the limitations that it's placed in your life. And you've tried the shots, surgeries, creams, gadgets, medications, all the promises of different practitioners or doctors maybe, but you're still uncertain about the next step. This conversation is absolutely 100% made for you. And what we're going to do in the next 45 minutes or so, if I talk really fast, is that I'm going to show you exactly how we take our clients from just surviving day-to-day life and injury back to thriving. And really the big thing that I find that is missing in our modern medical practice is understanding your why. And without understanding the why, you don't know what to do. You're not sure about where to go and how to affect it and how to return to your active, healthy, thriving lifestyle. So let's get to the root of the problem here. And part of it is just the medical system that we are all chained to these days, and where you have to schedule appointments out months in advance and then work with insurance copays and deductibles. And we're not even going to get into that nonsense. And then you're piecing together appointments, trying to make this fit and that fit, all to treat symptoms and pieces of symptoms with temporary relief, right? And you're worrying about just the best way to get through the next day. And so, again, we're treating the peripheral symptoms, but not getting to that core root issue. And that's a big, big deal. We want to help you to get out of the pain cycle, my friends. We want you to be done and dusted with this injury and get on with living the best life that you absolutely deserve. So my promise to you today is if you hang in there with us, we're going to show you the most common sources of injury, the most common sources of back pain, and how to resolve that injury once and for all. How to avoid flare-ups, that's a really good point, and how to move forward once and for all from pain. So most people think that they need an image to figure out what's going on. That is the biggest thing that I hear. There's also medications, there's weight loss, and there's any other number of things that we need to know before we can actually move forward. But once we get that image, and it tells us whatever it tells us. Maybe there's a disc herniation or a disc bulge or stenosis or any of those big medical terms. What's our action step? The image didn't tell us our action step. It told us what you saw in the image. And so I equate it to being like the happy couple on Instagram, right? You take one shot of a couple. Can you really know what to do with that then? The answer is no. So the way we respond to this is very, very different in functional movement therapy. But what you do need to win and to move forward, first and foremost, is a strong vision and belief in yourself to heal. You've got to believe that you can heal to then go ahead and take that on yourself as being that next best person, that maybe that next best version of yourself. And we're going to do that through a personalized recovery plan, unparalleled support and accountability, and the FMT training and guidance that you're going to get in this program, which is unlike anything else. So does this sound familiar to you? You're doing all the work, you're going to the appointments, you're doing the best that you possibly can, and yet, or you can't because you have to ask loved ones for help. You have to ask them for the support, and you're tired of it. And you're waking up and going to bed in pain, or taking breaks during the day because you're in pain, or ... You fill in the gap. Tell me what your story is. But you desperately want to get back to being independent, because you are a loving, thriving, vibrant person, and you deserve that. But the pain can be such an emotional roller coaster of emotions that it just keeps you tied back from everything that you know and love. Does that sound familiar? All right. And so that leads us to just thinking and hoping and wishing for the next thing, right? We're scouring the internet. We're looking at hashtags. We're looking at reviews. We're doing the searches. We're looking for testimonials. Who's real? Who's fake? What could I spend my time, energy, money on? And what's going to work for me, right? Everything else would be better if. But you already have everything you need to heal right now. You do. You do. Think about it. When you broke that bone as a kid, your body healed. When you got a cut or a scrape last week, your body healed. When you rolled your ankle, your body healed, right? So this injury is just, it's no different than that. But what did you do when you got that scrape on your arm? You put a Band-Aid on it. You didn't go and pick the scab after you learned not to do that as a kid. And your body healed, right? You rolled that ankle and you did something to affect the tissues so that they could heal quicker. But the back is just a bit more complicated than that because you can't separate it from everything. It's not like you can put just a Band-Aid on it. And so in this conversation, though, what you are going to get is a lot of actionable tips. So I want you to pay close attention. I want you to turn off the distractions. Put the silence on your phone or turn it off or put it away. Get out a pad of paper and a pen and really let's dive into this. And my friends, as you are going through it, ask questions. Throw questions in the comments below. If you're not connected with me on social media already, do so on Facebook, on Instagram, on all kinds of TikTok. That's our other one. And even here on YouTube. So when you start implementing the strategies that you're going to learn here, we're going to start to wake up without pain. You're going to be able to stand and walk and play with your kids and grandkids without worrying. You're going to be able to enjoy time with family and friends. And that is the good stuff. That's what it's all about. So because the strategies that we're talking about are really specific to you, and we start learning them on day one. And that's why this is much more than physical therapy, because it's not just a prescription of exercise and stretching and strengthening and see you later. I want you to apply this to real life. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's what makes all of it worthwhile. And that ensures that you get the result that you're looking for, which allows you to move properly and heal once and for all. Say goodbye to pain and injury so that you can live your best life. So I said that I'd introduce myself. I'm Dr. Nick. I am a doctor of physical therapy, founder of functional movement therapy, and I call myself a back pain specialist because I have been there, done that. See, I even got the t-shirt. And I have recovered from back pain. And it's really, really cool that I actually went through my injury because that's what's really brought me here today so that I can give this information to you. So I totally understand exactly where you've been, exactly who you are, and exactly the thoughts that are going through your head. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, just a smidgen. When I herniated my disc, I was 24 years old. I was in some of the best shape of my life. I was playing a soccer game. I took a shot from about midfield. I reached a little bit too far and boom, that was that. And by the time I was limping off the field, I knew something was wrong. By the time we drove home, something was very, very wrong. And luckily for me, I worked at a physical therapy clinic at the time. But I still had to go to the doctor's appointments. I still had to go and schedule those things, wait in the waiting room, book the appointments, very little insurance, very little savings, and very little answers, if I'm being honest, when I went into these specialists and asked for what was going on with my injury and what should I do. Well, you're going to do this, this, and this because there's acute back pain and blah, 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 blah. So it's medication, it's rest, it's time off of work, it's ice. Why? Tell me, why did this happen? And how can I prevent it from happening again? And so many other questions. Well, son, it's not giving you anything that you can actually work for. That was my experience, at least. And so I felt alone. I felt scared. I felt frustrated. I felt broke at the end of it. It wasn't, it didn't help me with anything. And it really took me injuring and re-injuring and re-aggravating and failing time and time again. And then working through the process myself, and then helping others to work through their process to fully understand this injury and these types of injuries. So I hear people say all the time, boy, I've tried everything, or my doctor just says I need to do this, or I've tried X, Y, and Z treatments, you know, whether it's TENS, muscle work, cupping, acupuncture, you name it. There's stuff out there. There's a lot of things out there. And I thought the exact same thing when I herniated my disc. That's why I did all that stuff. I did it. But I never really got the results I was looking for from these treatment options. And I'll tell you exactly why. All those treatment options, TENS, cupping, muscle work, muscle stimulation, neuromuscular, you name it, they all have one thing in common. And I want to just know if you guys can guess what each of those things have in common. They're all passive. Katie knew it. They're all passive treatments. And so what is passive treatment? What is a passive treatment? It's a treatment that's done to you. So you really don't have any active part in that treatment. No, I'm not going to work out right now. It is. And so why is that important? Well, imagine that you're back in college and you're in college and somebody's telling you all the information, telling you. You're in history class. Remember that one? And they're just telling you the information. And you go out of that room and you leave the room and say you come back in an hour. How much of that information did you retain? Not much, not much. For most of us who don't have photographic memories, you need to actively participate in this so that you can really form these mind to body connections. So you can start to change your movement patterns from the inside out. And that's what helps your tissues and your body to grow and to strengthen and to become more robust. It takes an active participation to heal positively and properly. And I'll tell you what, guys, movement is powerful. It is so powerful that it has the potential to heal you or aggravate you. And if we don't figure out what is going on and what proper movement feels like versus not, you're not gonna get it. It's just like riding a bike. You got to fall down a few times to figure out where your center of mass is, where your center of gravity is, so that you can properly ride. And then before long, you're doing wheelies down the park, and it's a great time. But that first couple rides don't feel normal. They don't feel natural because it's very, very different. But that's what's going to prevent further injury. That's going to decrease your chance of re-injury, and that's going to allow you to heal fully. And that's what we do here at Functional Movement Therapy. So in 90 days, we help people who suffer with back pain and sciatica take back their lives from injury to enjoy life to the fullest. Our mission is to help good people just like you achieve great results. And that's our purpose in the world. That is our gift. That's what we want to help you to do. So here is the FMT training method. This is the nuts and bolts of everything that we do. We got a few tricks up our sleeves, but I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts. The PNC approach to back pain, I think, is very, very novel. The FMT method, training method, I know is going to blow your socks off. Anti-flare-up strategies is worth, that section is worth alone the price of admission to the conversation. And then I want to speak to you shortly, briefly, about your personalized recovery program and how a personalized program can get you the results you want. And the coaching is really a no-brainer after that, because you don't get coaching and consistent guidance in the traditional medical field. So the principles and categories of back pain, knowing your principles and categories allows you to move forward because you'll understand the problem better. And it's really, really hard to correct or fix a problem that you don't understand. And that's because a diagnosis isn't inclusive of all the ways that we can move to injure a tissue. A diagnosis really tells us which tissues are injured and how long they've been injured for. That's all a diagnosis is. But again, it doesn't go back to the why. So when we learn the principles and when we learn the categories that we fall into, okay, now I've got some framework to put around this, and I can develop my plan through that. So the 6 categories of back pain that we've seen to be most common in our clients are postural, movement dysfunction, neural, breathing, instability, or a combination. And notice what you don't see on this is weight, sedentary lifestyle, other diagnoses, acute, chronic, inflammatory. These things really encompass everything that happens to the body as a whole. Which ones do you think that you fit into? Go ahead and comment below or shoot me a DM. These are the principles of back pain. Knowing your what and your why. To heal, you've got to know your what and your why. You've got to have your holistic recovery strategy, aka your plan. You've got to have control of your body before you actually build up endurance, before you actually build up strength. This is really important. So most programs will have you stretch and strengthen, stretch and strengthen. You can't strengthen what you can't control. And that's a really big misconception that I see being practiced very, very often. And so quality matters. You know, if you're doing, say you're checking off all the boxes, say you're doing all the exercises, but you didn't really control it. Was your quality good enough? Say you graded yourself. If you got a C+ on the test, and then you try to go use those muscles to cook dinner, to watch after the kids, to go on a walk, but you're doing C+ work, are you going to end the night feeling better or worse? Sometimes it takes A+ work to make this stuff a reality and to make it happen. So can we really separate our mind and body? No, we have to put them together so that they can do the activities of daily life and get you to start to really understand and feel what normal, what correct is. And let me know, guys, if you have questions about this stuff, if things are striking a chord with you. I really, really want to know what's hitting home, okay? But without understanding the why of your pain is occurring, treatment's a guessing game. And this guy might as well take his hand off his face, because I am terrible at darts. I don't know about you guys, but literally we'll hit the person over there and I'll have a big hole in my side. The doctors will tell you too, you know, you've got to have a proper diagnosis. And a lot of us fight for a diagnosis. A diagnosis makes us feel like, okay, we got a foothold on the problem and now I have a stepping stone. But our current medical system really isn't set up for you to understand the why. And like I mentioned before, the system tells us to classify by timeline and by body part. It's that simple. So M54.5 is low back pain. That's it. Generalized low back pain. Awesome. Now what? We want to know which tissues are being impacted, why they are being impacted, and how to best resolve them once and for all, right? And getting out of the cookie cutter approach so we can move forward. So the truth is, you probably fall into several categories. There are probably a lot of diagnoses you can throw at this stuff, but that can get so confusing, contradictory information. So I want to go here and I want to do this and I want to do this. And still, what's keeping the pain around? But to be at your very, very best, everything needs to work, doesn't it? This is why you can't piece together the little sections of symptoms. We need everything to start moving as unified systems so that you can just do the daily tasks that matter, right? And that's why we don't treat diagnosis. We treat people. And it's so important. It just, everything goes better when you treat people like people. And we want to educate you on this stuff, guys, because you are smart. You're educated enough. You've already worked through the Google and the hashtags and looking for the practitioners. Let us give you the answers. It's an open book test. And with all the answers right in front of you and support to make sure that you get there, don't you think our odds of winning just dramatically increased? That's our core mission, to give you a 360-degree approach to recovery. So these are the common obstacles that people face. And this happens all the time. I can't tell you this is obviously not an exhaustive list, but let me know which one of these sticks. When we are stuck listening to others' opinions, when we try to self-treat, that can be off of YouTube, Google, Instagram, Facebook, whichever. Or then we get frustrated and fed up with that. So we just stop altogether and say heck with it. I'm just going to live like this and I can live my life like this. And there are things I can do and things I can't do. And I understand that. And sure, that may be, I hate it. I don't even want to go there. No, it doesn't have to be. It allows us to fall into negative emotions. We get resentful. There's a whole roller coaster of things that happen there. And we don't want you to get stuck in patterns because your brother's uncle's cousin went away with this treatment option and it didn't work for you. Okay. So following through, developing that plan, creating the plan, and then working through the fears, doubts, and anxieties, along with the musculoskeletal work, and neuromuscular work, so brain to body, super, super important. So don't get caught up in any of these traps. Carla didn't get caught up in any of these traps. I want to introduce you to her. She's my good friend and longtime client. She was diagnosed with back pain, hip pain, IT band syndrome. There were a few others in there as well. And she went to the orthopedist. She went to her PCP. She went to a couple different PTs and had a running coach, all trying to fix her. And she was at a loss. And Carla had to run. When I tell you guys Carla has to run, guys, Carla has to run. Carla does not stop running. We talked today and she says, well, I'm just going to do an easy 10 miles, so it's no big deal. But she wasn't able to do her 10 miles at that point. And so what we had to do to get her to run her first marathon, which she did successfully last year, is we put her through this FMT training. And we looked at everything from the floor up. And you'll see how we do that in just a moment. But at 55, Carla was able to run her first marathon. At 55, Carla was able to run a full year without injury, after sciatica, after hip pain, after back pain, after all kinds of stuff. She wouldn't go more than a couple months without an injury creeping up to her. And that's the power of this stuff. Literally, I didn't touch her. She fixed herself. And so when we find that mindset, when we find the principles and the method that's going to work for you, you get the results. And when we put in that daily effort, time and time again, and do the things that matter, then you can recover. And this recovery can start at any stage, you guys. You know, if you have been suffering with back pain for 10 years, if you just got back pain 6 weeks ago, these methods and strategies are going to work for you. From prevention through recovery to maintenance, these methods work, and they work time and time again. And they'll help you to build confidence, to take back control, and will save you lots and lots of time, money, and most importantly, pain. So the FMT method is this. We're going to educate you on what's happening. We've talked a lot about the importance of education. We've talked a lot about the individualized plan that we can help you to develop. And we've talked a lot about the support and accountability. The other thing that you don't get anywhere else these days is one-on-one care, or one-on-one care for more than 5 to 10 minutes, right? There's always medical practitioners, and this is just the nature of the beast of medicine these days. It's not any of the practitioners' faults. It's just the way their billing cycle is working. They're always multitasking and juggling. And so they're giving you the best they can. They're all good people. They got into medicine for a good reason, I'm sure, to help people. But it's hard. It's hard as a in-person practitioner, I'll tell you from firsthand. So the one-on-one care, I think, is absolutely huge. It gives us time to do the 3 things that I just listed above, where you won't get anywhere else. And that's so, so important. And it has been such a crucial part of many, many of our clients' success. And a customized program is really, really cool. It's flexible to your needs. You get 24-hour response to questions. You get digital support that is sent straight to your phone on a weekly basis. So you know exactly what's going on. If we need to move things around, that happens. And if we need to adjust things to fit your growing abilities or regress because something happened, it's totally accessible and totally able. None of this is a template. There is no cookie cutter stuff about it. It's all for you. So let's break it down and just make recovery easy. What would it look like if recovery was easy? If the rest of your way to the top was easy, what would that look like and feel like for you? And let's avoid roadblocks. Let's get out of the roadblocks with the uncertainty. And again, if anything happens, how cool would it be? How great would it be to have somebody there at the click of a button to lean on and ask for support? No matter what happened, that you're right there. You're not in it alone anymore. You're in it together. And as we move through this, hey, I see this. It might be a potential thing. Let's do this to put that in place so we can avoid any painful roadblocks, any setbacks, any difficulties in the process. And that just doesn't happen when you aren't with the right program and you don't have the support. And the other thing I find practitioners doing, and I did this as a young practitioner, so I'll take full ownership, is kind of thinking that the person that is being treated, so AKA you guys, has all the time in the world to only rehab. Nobody has time to only rehab. Goodness gracious, we're all living life, and we're all living life in pain. That means that everything else is 10 times harder. The kids are going nuts. I'm getting tired. I'm frustrated at my husband or wife there for saying something silly. I swear it was just a dad joke, honey. And no, I don't have just time to rehab. I want to feel better. And so it affects everything else. That's why a flexible program matters. So let's get back to empowering. Let's get back to educating. Let's get back to understanding and believing that you have the ability to heal, and having a program that grows with you. You know, PT these days, chiro, or a lot of them, acupuncture, is really made to get you feeling better. And we try to get people back to as close to 100% as possible. And you'll hear doctors say this too. I want to get you as close to 100% as possible. But 100% is where you got injured, my friends. That is not good enough. That can't be the benchmark. We need to think above and beyond that, because the things that you want to get back to doing, you did at a much better physical state. And that's why this program has to grow. So you need something, or don't you want something that's going to take you all the way through? And that's the empowered mindset for recovery is exactly what we can help you to do. It's a unique training method that puts you in control of your body once and for all. We're going to teach you how to use your body based on the principles of movement, functional movement testing and training, and help you to develop the knowledge and mindset to overcome any challenge you face along the way. Now, I always, like we talked about a second ago, want to point out the barriers to those things, to getting the results you want. And there's two main ones that you need to recognize. It's either a lack of understanding or a lack of time. Now, we'll tackle time, because time is probably the easiest one to tackle and the hardest to implement, okay? We all only have 24 hours in the day, but we can't let time be the barrier for inconsistent work, not prioritizing yourself, and then at the end of the day trying to scramble, or throughout the day trying to scramble to feel, and you end up feeling overwhelmed. So things get done quickly, they get done outside of the quality that's really required, and that can be where some of the lack of results stem from. So how can we create 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week, to get you to do the work that will really make the progress happen? 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. Can we make that happen? So I say this: never miss a Monday workout, and then make Saturday and Sunday your priorities if you're having a crazy busy life, which many of us fit into, right? If we need to get up 30 minutes early, then we get up 30 minutes early. Some days, if we need to stay up an extra 30 minutes and get the work done, we get the work done. But if you get Mondays done and you get Saturday and Sundays done, now you have Tuesday through Friday to get one workout done. Boom, that's progress. That's how easy it can be. And by easy, I mean, hey, I just put it down on paper. You've got to make it happen. But number 2 is the lack of understanding. And we can get stuck in the analysis paralysis, or the uncertainty, or treating the surface level syndrome. So wait a second, I got to go get my massage gun and just go like pop everything that's going on here and beat myself up until it comes back again. So let's stop with the nonstop research and really, really move forward from this with confidence. And we know from personal experience, and from the research, and from the testimonies, and from millions of conversations, that it affects mental health. So when we're struggling to know what's helping versus hurting, when we start to lose motivation and belief, all those negative emotions can creep in. And that is the stuff that keeps me up at night. So Brittany was kind of in that place when she came to us. Now, Brittany is a beautiful person with a gorgeous family. She makes some really cute kiddos, doesn't she, guys? Brittany had 2 back surgeries that failed, not 1, but 2. And she had been to a PT. She was holding off of joining the program until she just realized that, hey, nothing's changing. You know, I keep going to sessions and nothing is changing. In 90 days, you guys, after 2 back surgeries, 3 years of pain, and seeing multiple people in person, she replaced her gym membership, her PT appointments, her chiropractor, and her massage therapy sessions with one program that she did from home. How cool is that? So that gives you back the time, the money, the freedom, and gets you the results that you're looking for. All right, everybody pay close attention here. Avoiding flare-up starts with knowing what flares you up, okay? If you've been dealing with this for quite some time, or even had an episode and then a flare-up, you gotta know what flares you up. So take inventory. And typically it's these three things. It's posture, direction, or duration. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what I mean by that in a second, okay? But do you have any idea what your current endurance levels are for the basic functional task of sitting, standing, and walking? What are yours today, right now? What have they been? Are they trending in the right direction? And posture is the first one. But what's the big deal? What's all the fuss about? Why is this essential? Okay. So we all know that most of our posture stinks, as we all bring this slide up and then everybody sits up in their chair. But how does it relate to my injury? That's exactly what I expect everybody to do, by the way. It's like, oh, wait, you called me out there. How you align yourself to do this does one thing. You're doing one thing. You're beating gravity. Okay. And if your daily movement patterns are out of alignment, then can anyone else actually ever put you back into alignment? No. You have to learn how to move fully so that you can beat gravity, number one. That's all of our first jobs, right? First job of life is learning how to beat gravity, holding the head up against gravity, standing up against gravity, and walking, right? Remember back to physics, gravity is heavy. So we're going to do a quick test. And I want you guys, if you have the time and space and energy, go ahead, stand up right now. And what I want you to do is just pretend that you're like in the grocery store here. And, you know, you got your stuff and you're ready to check out and you're just like, okay, I got to get home because I'm going to make dinner. But that lady in front of you, she's talking to the cashier about God knows what, and we don't really care. Okay, freeze. What are your feet doing? Go ahead and check your feet. Are they even? Are they symmetrical? Maybe, maybe not. Are they pointed the same direction? Or is one off and one's a little bit this way and one's a little bit this way? Okay. Are you equally distributed between both legs, left and right? Okay. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I was a little bit this way. Maybe I was a little bit that way, right? Are your knees locked or unlocked? They tend to be locked, possibly. Here's the answer: unlock them. And I'll tell you why later on. And we work our way just up the chain here, right? Most of us live our life outside of neutral. We do. We just do. We're all a little asymmetrical, if you didn't already know. Now, it's just a little exercise there to show you that, hey, you know, how far off was I? How close to better can I become? How quickly can I do that? Does it affect your pain immediately? That's the cool thing. If we can, I've had this happen multiple times. So if you fit into this category of postural and even neural, affecting your posture may decrease your pain levels by 2 or 3 points immediately. How cool is that? And so all you got to do is look for symmetry. And so that's huge. And as we're talking about posture, we don't want you to live your life with a stiff and rigid spine and move around and just be like this and like the soldier. No, actually being able to move with proper posture allows you to move freely. It's kind of an oxymoron, but it's totally true that when you get out of hinging at certain places or being so prone to certain movement patterns, your spine starts to open up. And that's the beauty of the process. And by aligning yourself optimally, you're taking the pressure off your joints, right? One of the diagnoses, again, that a lot of practitioners love to throw around is degenerative disc disease or degenerative joint disease. Why are those joints degenerating? Anybody ever answer that one? Why? If we're improperly bracing and not using our muscles to do their job, what takes the brunt force to keep us upright? Our joints. And so it's just a matter of time before the hips, knees, ankle, or spine take a brunt. And has one, two, or all of those started talking to you recently? But muscles were designed to move us. They should be what moves us, and we have to learn how to control them. So when we go into direction, the direction of preference versus the direction of intolerance, this is really, really important for you guys who are suffering from sciatica or lumbar radiculopathy is the big term for that. And we want to really maximize the positions that allow you to recover really, really well and really quickly. So your direction of preference, and understanding your direction of intolerance so you can minimize those and not pick the scab. You guys remember when you were little and you would, you got a cut on the arm and then you would pick the scab, and then it had to bleed again, and then it had to scab again, and then it started the healing process all over. And then 2 days later, you're like, well, I wonder what might happen here if I just, did this little thing. And so instead of this being like a 7 to 10 day process, you had a scab on your arm for about a month, and maybe even now have a little scar, right? As we interrupt the healing process of the body, it gets harder and harder to heal, or just, it basically starts us back to, an earlier phase of healing. And so by avoiding your direction of intolerance and picking the scab, you can minimize that healing process. Huge. And duration. We talked about, understanding your duration and your endurance for these different activities. And they're either static or they're dynamic. They just kind of fit into these two lump categories. Static positions being the standing, the sitting, the sleeping, and the dynamic activities being walking, work, daily task. And if you're not on a walking program, but you've been suffering with back pain for over 8 weeks, you need to start a walking program. That is number one. And then track those endurance methods with your activity journal or pain journal. I like to call it an activity journal because that's a lot more fun. But monitor and take note of the things that help for certain where your current limitations are or where your abilities lie. And so you can track progress over time. It's great. And what we find is that control absolutely matters, and doing the little things right adds up to big results. So being able to control your body and movements during your essential tasks will immediately give you back quality of life while decreasing your pain levels. And what happens when you get this right? All kinds of good stuff. We recover quicker from flare-ups. We move into owning the injury and owning our movements and understanding them better. So we stop reacting out of fear. And that feels really, really good. That's where confidence starts to be built from and where abilities start to grow. And this is how my friend Katie was able to recover from her disc herniation. So I want to show you guys a little something about how Katie was able and what she recovered from. Katie's injury isn't a normal one. She was told by every single surgeon that she saw that 6 to 8 different PTs. Everybody was saying that she needed surgery. She had to have surgery, and it was tough. It was frustrating, and it was hard. It was hard. Katie's one of the toughest clients that I've ever had, in person or digitally. But she did the work. She showed up consistently. She did her PT and was learning, oh, that's what it feels like to do it wrong. That's what it feels like to do it right. And this is what it gets me back to. It gets me back to running. And which is just such a phenomenal, phenomenal outcome. And I'm so, so proud of you. Just got to say, it's job well done. Step 4 is the personalized recovery training. And this is a step-by-step plan for you. And I'll tell you guys, this is exactly why cookie cutter programs don't work, because this journey can look like a stock market, especially if you've been dealing with it for a long time. We want to make sure that the overall trend is up, but be there for you to support you 100% of the way if things don't go perfectly. Okay, that doesn't mean we stop. That doesn't mean we failed. That means that we are in there and we need to regroup and do this together. And that's where having the tools like our back pain training course that we're developing right now is going to be huge in your recovery. So you can get all this training at once. You can binge it while you're watching Netflix in the background. You can listen and re-listen to it. You can join our community to have people cheering you on and keeping you accountable to doing your work. It is awesome. Have answers and support right there at the touch of your phone. All of us are already on our phone way too much. What if we use that technology to do something powerful and meaningful for the quality of our life? What would that mean? But just ask yourself, hey, I'm not sure if this thing is right for me. Okay. If you don't do something different, where are you going to be in the next 6 to 12 months? Does that lead you towards the goal you're looking for? By investing in a coach, you're going to maximize your recovery. You're going to come into a science-backed program with unparalleled support, a great history, a great track record for helping people to heal positively, holistically, plenty of experience to move you forward and understanding this stuff like nobody else, and the motivation and mindset for healing. Because getting back your full life is all that matters. And I want to thank you guys for sticking through this conversation. It has been a long one. My voice is already getting raspy, but I hope that you have given some great ideas to start moving forward and working with here. Because FMT really, when we started this company and started with just the idea of having just an app, that was the first idea of the company. I still wanted it to be digital solutions at the touch of a button right there. And I found that with back pain, we just need more touch points. And so, yes, having an app is great. Having exercises delivered to my phone is great, but having things that matter to me that I can do right now and be successful at are even better. Having digital support that knows me, knows who I am, and knows what my struggles are, that's huge, right? And to have a community that's cheering me on, outside of family or friends who don't get it, right? If they haven't been there, how could they? So I want you to take a moment and just think about waking up for that first day completely pain-free. What does that look like? How does the bed feel? What does breakfast taste like? What do you do on that first pain-free day? Go ahead and comment below. Because recovery isn't easy, though. We're going to learn from the hiccups. We're going to work together through the fears and the struggles, anything that pops up along the way. And we want to be your lighthouse that illuminates your path to success so you can get there quicker and more effective and continue to move forward after the program, because the education, nobody's going to take from you. That's what Hillary learned as well. As we helped her to identify her pain that was sticking around after surgery, Hillary had just gotten married. They had just bought a house. They had just started a life together. The next thing on the list was to have kids, but boom, she bent down to pick up a plant, and it didn't go quite so well. So after months of PT, chiro, surgery, she was still in pain, still limited from her daily life, and she needed to get her strength back. But she was able to do that by working with FMT. And now she's back to running and living her best life and working long hours as a CPA. So here's her in her own words. That's the important thing. That's the important thing, is that we want to forget that this was a part of the life, right? That maybe it's a part of your story, but not something that you have to think about every day. And so we want to be the coach that works as hard as you do to get there, to get you there, to get you the answers, the real answers that matter, that you could do something with, not just waiting and hoping, and the accountability to keep you there on task, even when you don't want to, because there's going to be those days that you don't want to do it. And then the guidance and the strategies for real life. The unfortunate truth is that insurance wants you to get good enough, and then they're going to say goodbye. You've maxed out your potential, or whatever verbiage they're going to use, but they don't want to pay for any more treatment. And the specialists will recommend shot surgeries and medication because that's what they've been trained on, right? And a reactive medical system that doesn't see a problem coming until it's too late. And so it's time for you to take control of your health now, right? You've tried that. It's been too long. Let's move forward. And that's what we want to help you to achieve your full potential. So today we talked about really being promised about how our clients beat back pain and sciatica, how we help them to understand their why, and learning how you can return to an active lifestyle, and how you can get out of scheduling appointments, images, shots, and pain medicine, piecing treatments together, and worrying about the next flare-up. What you need is simple. It's the 5 steps that we use for each of our clients, and to be able to move forward once and for all, which is the P&C approach, the FMT methods, the anti-flare-up strategies, the personalized training program, and the coaching that comes with it. So you can regain your confidence and independence to do the really, really cool stuff that life is all about. If you guys get to go to Zion Inspiration Point, pretty much unlike anything else I've ever seen before. Highly, highly recommend it. So let's go on a hike together. And if you need more proof, our clients have been to an average of 6.5 practitioners in person before they've worked with us. They've been in pain an average of 4 years, and the traditional medical system has failed them too. It's just not been what they had hoped. And we want you to get out of that pain yo-yo cycle, not need another appointment, not need to leave the house for shot surgery medication or another pain management specialist, and to get off of pain medication completely. How cool would that be to never have to go and refill another prescription for pain? And you will go to bed feeling great, wake up feeling great, rested, happy. How cool would it be to laugh at that joke that your spouse told that wasn't funny at all, but you can laugh because you're not in pain? I'm working on it, but my jokes aren't getting much better, but we're going to keep working. But we want you to enjoy the lives, the moments that matter. What would you do if your life looked like that and you didn't have pain? What would it be like? What would be different? What would be the 1, 2, or 3 things that you would do immediately if you didn't have to worry about it? I want you to think about that, and just based on that alone, make a choice. So my next promise to you is this, is that we will only take on clients that we can help and that we believe we can help fully. So I want to invite each of you guys to book a connection call with us, or DM me directly, or it's going to be in your email that's going to go out with this. And it's a free 30-minute phone call to see if you qualify for our program, if we can help you. If not, I'm going to give you some great advice and tips. I made it to almost the end before my voice just tanked. Holy cow. But we're going to finish this off strong. It's a 30-minute phone call to talk about you, everything that's going on with you, and see if you qualify and what the best next step is for you. We only have a limited amount of these though, so be sure to book yours today. And if you've tried everything, if you're serious about moving forward, you haven't tried everything. And we want you to think about having a phone call with us. That's it. It's a free phone call. It's 30 minutes of your time where you can talk about your injury specifically, what's going on, and I'll give you even more insights into that. We show you how to fix yourself. And so you know that you can do that not only now, but in the future. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest takeaway from today, is you'll always have that education there, and it's reproducible now and forever. And so we're going to give you back your true freedom, because you are in charge of your life, right? That's what you want back, is your independence. Here it is. So if you allow me to support you, what I'll do is I'll walk you through the exact process that we described today. You'll be held accountable to do the work. You're going to achieve massive growth. You're going to enjoy those moments with your family that matter. Okay. You're going to see the tangible results on day 1, where we can start to identify which category of back pain you fit into, how to best address that, and how to start to move forward. And that's exactly what's going to be delivered to you week in and week out, time and time again, as we develop your knowledge and understanding and everything that we've put into practice over years and years of creating this. And so here's our invitation. Book that call. Think about it. Do it. Space is limited, okay? We won't be offering these for free forever, and I want you to take advantage of the opportunity that's here for you. And remember, guys, Injury isn't just a process of recovery, it's a process of discovery. This can be a part of your story, but it doesn't have to be the end of it. So I want to thank you guys for sticking through this with me. And I just really, really appreciate your time and patience with all this. And I hope you got a ton from it. Have an awesome e-day.